Ask better questions, get better answers. Welcome to the Entrepreneur Motivation Podcast. I'm your host, Chris Bello. And today we're going to be talking about asking better questions. We have to get better at asking questions. You'll notice that a lot of times you may make assumptions or think that you know it all. I've done this too. And like someone has mentioned before on a previous show, I know that the words I know that can be very dangerous because we end up shutting ourselves down and off from new learning. There may be a new lesson there. We may have a brief knowledge on it, but when we say I know that and we shut ourselves off to actually being receptive to the message, we end up getting ourselves in trouble because we may not know as much as we think, or we may know outdated information that is no longer relevant. So there's different levels of knowledge. You may have heard of this before. I'm not sure if this is 100% accurate. I tried to Google it, but I didn't know the exact words to type. But there's various levels of knowledge. There's about 4 levels of knowledge. We know what we know. We know what we don't know. We don't know we know. That's when we become extremely competent. We forget how much we actually know. And then we don't know, like it's not even on our radar. We don't even know that this thing exists. There may be a solution to a problem we don't even know that we have, for example, and it doesn't end up showing up on our radar until we hear somebody else talking about it, at which point we're like, aha, I didn't even know that that was a problem, but now I know that I don't know that, right? So different levels of awareness and knowledge. And I remember I went to this real estate event in Oregon. I've talked about it before, the Carrot Camp event, 8-figure software company. They help real estate investors and agents build websites that convert really well and attract leads and rank highly for SEO purposes. And it was a cool event. 15 of us got to go, very intimate setting. We got to work with the team. People got to open up their sites and get, hands-on feedback and updates. We got to talk to the CEO face to face, and he's very good. Shout out to Trevor Mock. The man is very intentional. He'll be looking at you. He won't be checking his phone. You'd think a CEO of an 8-figure software company would be extremely busy and have emails and phone calls back to back, but he carves out time for this thing. And he's like looking at you straight in the eye for 20 or 30 minutes, like talking to you, answering every question, kind of praising you for the work that you've done. Like, solid dude. I mean, the dude's like The Rock or something, there's no one who doesn't like The Rock. Did I say that right? You can't not like The Rock. Double negative, but you get what I'm saying. And that's how this guy is. He genuinely is a family guy, takes care of his family, has an awesome wife and kids, got to meet the wife. She came out to the event and everything, or at least got to see her from afar. I don't think we actually formally met. But it was just cool because he was giving undivided attention and answering questions as they came up. But my point with this is that I was chatting with him as well as 1 or 2 other people. And here was a guy with so much experience. He's done so many amazing things. His resume is incredible. He's one of the top, the company Carrot is one of the top growing companies, like fastest growing Fortune 500 companies or something, and has been several years in a row. And I was a fly on the wall. And my problem here was that I wasn't even sure what to ask him. I was aware that I probably don't know what I don't know. And I just didn't even know what to ask because I wasn't sure what I wanted to do. This was actually right after I had moved to Denver. Pretty fresh. I had just moved to Denver in March of 2021, and this event was in May. And so I just didn't even know, right? I just didn't know what I didn't know. I was being a fly on the wall, and that was probably a lost opportunity. And of course, I can always, sign up for a future one, go there, get access, have new questions. But honestly, I feel like I should have done a better job of brainstorming questions that I had. Because again, when you ask better questions, you get better answers. There's actually a book on this that my book club has been reading, and it's called Change Your Questions, Change Your Life. And it was a pretty good book. It wasn't like my favorite, like a 4-hour work week or Rich Dad, Poor Dad type book, but I did enjoy it. And the title really aligns with what we're talking about here. Change your questions, change your life. It aligns with asking better questions. You get better answers. And I believe this is a concept in the book they talk about called Q storming or question storming. Instead of brainstorming, you're not just trying to come up with ideas, you're actually brainstorming questions. You're taking the time to ask yourself the better questions or write them down. And don't just jump to answer when you're coaching people or you're helping your team. Don't just answer the questions for them, because they're going to retain it a lot better if you ask them questions and let them come up with the answers. This is actually something I've noticed with like great coaches. They will ask great questions. My business coach does this too. He'll be like, how do you think you can do that? Or, if I were to tell you this, how would you handle that situation? And they may guide you a little bit, but they don't want to give you the answers because you're not going to have the takeaway or the breakthrough. Versus if you do come up with the idea and you have that aha moment, it'll stick with you a lot more. instead of you just writing it down and forgetting it. Like when we listen to podcasts and listen to audiobooks, it's very easy for things to go in one ear and out the other. But when you have that eureka moment, that really stands out. And like I've mentioned before, when you teach, you learn twice. So even as you're talking through things and you have that breakthrough, that'll be a lot more impactful for you or for a team member or someone you're working with than if you just tell them what to do or if someone just tells you what to do. So again, ask better questions, get better answers. Where can you improve? Just a couple of things to think about, food for thought. Maybe you can create a list of questions you have, especially for a business coach or mentor, or maybe someone who's in a position that you want to be in. I've mentioned this before. I've got a list of questions that I can ask my business coach at any point in time. And at that point, it's kind of like the thing with the CEO of Carrot. It's on me to come up with good questions. If I don't ask questions and I don't take advantage of that opportunity to get any question I want answered, I'm not going to get answers because I'm not asking good enough questions to get the answers that I deserve. But of course, maybe I have to do the work to find out the stuff I don't know. So it becomes something that I don't know, and then I can ask questions about it and learn a little bit more about it. So best case, you can get concise answers from qualified people. And I suppose worst case, at the very least, you can educate yourself with YouTube or courses and get some of those questions answered for you. So I hope that was helpful. Remember to ask better questions if you want to get better answers. Thank you so much for following along, for listening to this episode. If you got any questions or comments, drop them below in YouTube. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe. If you're on Apple Podcasts, please leave me a review if you have not done so. I would be extremely appreciative for that. And with that being said, I will catch you on the next episode. Talk soon.